Good girl. Can you find our way? Can you find our way down on the plane? Yeah.
Hello people, I'm Kirsten. If you're new here, hi. I'm a government lawyer in Washington, D.C. and I'm blind, so I make videos about blind content, home stuff, unboxing, product reviews, fun vlogs. We pretty much do it all on this channel, so if that content appeals to you and it makes you smile for a second, then make sure to hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss anything. Depending on my work schedule, I try to post once a week if I can. So one of those videos I'm talking about for blind content is about 5 reasons that blind people should get a guide dog. But today I thought that I would post a video about 5 considerations that you might want to keep in mind for why you wouldn't want to get a guide dog. I'm trying to have a very real, honest conversation with you about things to keep in mind about how to care for a guide dog, how to own one and actually care for one, not just have one. Being blind, you understand that mobility tools and aids are incredibly personal, and the choice for which one to pick is really scary. So I understand this is a huge change, and I honestly commend the research that you're doing and the attempts to try to figure out what works best for you. So leave a comment down below if you have questions. I was a cane user for most of my life till I was 23. So I understand both ends of it, and I'm happy to talk to anyone who has further questions if I can be of any help. So grab a cup of tea, grab your friends, grab yourself, I don't care. Just sit down and let's get into it. So reason number 1 is that there is a financial obligation that goes along with having a dog. Even if you have a guide dog school with a large endowment that helps you with vet bills, food expenses, medications, etc., there is still a financial obligation or sort of extra cost of having a dog. Not to mention the fact that dogs are like humans, so they might have emergency vet visits and you need to be prepared for, like, your dog ate some random thing and now it's really sick type of event. And also, like humans, the food is important. So what you put into your dog physically is what you will get out of it, generally, unless it gets sick, but you get my point. So you want to make sure that the food is high quality, that it has a lot of nutrients, that you work with your vet to make sure that you're giving your dog what makes it most comfortable and healthy. Also, toys, treats, the dog crate, beds. For me, I understand that the dog is a living thing and needs certain stuff associated to give it a good life. So I'm okay with that commitment. Number 2 is that there's also a time and physical commitment. The dog is going to add other obligations to your life than what you're normally used to. So for example, in the morning, I wake up, I feed her, and before I even eat or get my morning coffee, I am taking her for a 30-minute walk. Why? Because then I have to come home and either go to the office or telework, and I need to focus. I'm an attorney. We get a lot of things that are fast-paced and very intense. If I walk her in the morning first, then she's gotten energy out, she's relaxed, she's happy, we've both gotten fresh air. Same with lunchtime. The dog has to go out at midday. If you can, walk the dog again. And then my fiance Joe and I will walk her an hour every night at a pretty fast clip. And the more energy the dog can let out safely, the better the dog will guide and the better the dog will feel and be able to focus. There's also things like grooming. I brush her, wash her, clean her ears, brush her teeth, grind her nails, like all those things. You have to learn how to do them correctly and safely. Generally, I just prefer to do the grooming because I think it makes me feel better, and I'm assured that she won't have a bad experience. She came back from a groomer once, sort of weird, like all traumatized and weird, so I don't take her back. And then you'll want to play with the dog. Mental health of a dog is as important as the physical health. I'm telling you. I know people who have guide dogs that they use for navigation outside, and then they bring the dog back and the dog goes in the crate or goes on its bed and has no release because people are like, this is a tool. This is not a pet, this is a tool. Well, there's a delicate balance, and it's very important because guess what? Those dogs retire after like 5 years. And I don't know about you, but I certainly don't want to learn how to bond with a dog and trust the dog, which is incredibly hard to go through, only to have it for 5 years if I can help it. Number 3 is that you are never left alone. If you're someone that can't handle sort of being on your A game in public all the time, then having a guide dog might not be up your alley, just because being blind people know this. We're used to being stared at with our canes when we're using any sort of accessible devices, anything like that, because we're different and society doesn't really know what to do with that, so they just scrutinize and look and just try to figure things out. When you have a dog, that is amplified tenfold. Everyone's staring at you, everyone's talking to you. I had a sort of running bet with my friends once about how many trips to work I could take without being spoken to about my dog, and it got to 2 years and I was still at 0. So I'm telling you that I went to the office every day for 2 years straight, and somebody talked to me, either on the train, in the street, in the elevator, at the security guard thing, in the office, like never fails, every single day. And sometimes you just want to be left alone. You know, we're not always in the best mood, but it doesn't matter because you don't know who these people are, and being blind, you don't know who's around you. So you can't be like, please stop talking to me. You can't say that. You just have to say nicely every day the same answers. Oh, what's your dog's name? Where is she from? How old is she? What color is that? Where did you get her? Can I pet her? No, 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 no. Sometimes you just want to go crazy. I think it's worth it because honestly, I don't really care. You guys, we walk so fast anyway. We just blow by people and they can't keep talking to us. I'll just be like, she's a disabled German Shepherd, Fidelco Guide Dog Foundation. Have a good day. And like we just zoom away and people are like, oh, okay, bye. You know, so anyway, just you'll figure it out. You just have to have a personality that can handle those things and just sort of an airy approach to things, and you'll be good to go. The fourth thing to keep in mind is that there are a few sort of inconveniences associated with having a dog. Mainly that the dog goes with you everywhere because, as I said at the beginning, the dog is your mobility aid. The dog is not just something that you hang out with all day, contrary to what people who put fake vests on dogs and then bring them into public might think. Let me know if you want a video on the importance of real service animals and why people shouldn't just get a vest from the internet and say that their dog is an emotional support dog. Okay, back on track. Sometimes when you take a dog somewhere, it's great. You have an SUV, for example, like my fiance and I, so the dog just pops in the back and you're off and running. Sometimes it's not as easy as that. So for example, if you're going with a friend somewhere and they don't have a back that's available for the dog, or you don't want the dog on the seat because maybe her paws are muddy, then she'll sit like this. And they're so trained, she will stay like this the whole time. And maybe throughout the drive, she'll sort of tuck herself down. And then when the door closes, I have to sort of crunch up. And you have to be okay with that, although it's a little hard in a pencil skirt, I have to say. Then when you take an Uber, you sit in the back seat, usually behind the passenger seat, because that can be pulled forward. And the dog goes in the space where you would normally put your feet. And then again, just like in the front, they sit here. If the car is big enough to accommodate, usually she'll sort of lay down if she can find a space and she tucks herself in. But your feet are just where the middle spot is, and it's pretty convenient. I will tell you though, sometimes Uber drivers will see a guide dog and they'll say, no, I'm not taking you. Uber is great about this though, and when they figure out that this happened, they immediately fire the drivers. So I've made several career-ending phone calls in my life, and I do not feel bad about it. Then you have to think about weather. A wet German Shepherd or Lab is not fun in a pristine office building or hotel lobby or restaurant, especially when you walk in the door and you're nice and happy because you're warm and dry, and then your shepherd shakes and soaks everyone. It's embarrassing and it's hard. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Usually people are like, oh my gosh, no worries, no worries. Because they understand that it's a guide dog and that I couldn't help the rain. And so people are generally pretty good about it. But sometimes that's not always the case. And you run into people that are like, oh my God, your dog got fur on me. Oh my God. So, you know, you just have to, again, back to the airy disposition, you have to just apologize and then keep moving, because that's all you can do. You can't fix someone. I mean, they want me to lint roll their crotch for them? Sure, I can do that, but I don't really think they want that. Anyway, people can often make things a little bit hard. That goes the same with your friends. You have to be prepared for the fact that your friends might not want your dog in their home. Because unlike public buildings where there are laws governing the fact that the dog is a mobility aid, that does not apply to a home. Private homeowners can say, I don't want your dog in my house. And so then you're left with thinking about, okay, so do I leave my dog home? But then I'm forced to either go back to my cane, which depending on your comfort level with the cane might be good or bad for you. Or do I have to hold somebody's hand and I feel like I'm 7? You know, it's hard, especially when you're a professional and you've worked really hard for a career. You don't necessarily want to give that up. But if it's something that you really want to go to, an important event or whatever, that might be a consideration. Just understand that the rule about allowing access to dogs does not apply in private residences, so you just need to keep that in mind. And the last reason I think is the most important reason, so if you stayed to the end of this video, then you are lucky. Because the last reason is that a dog for guiding is not a pet. And I mean that seriously. When I got my dog, the trainers said, you have an incredibly trained guide dog as of today. And if she stops doing what she's supposed to do, it's because we have to come back and fix her because you messed her up. And I was like, oh, no pressure, thanks guys. But that's the truth. And there are rules associated with a guide dog that people normally don't think of when they have a regular dog in the house. So for example, you are the one who feeds the dog, brushes, waters, gives treats, commands, calls, everything, because the dog has to understand that you are the alpha and that you see to that dog's needs. The reason is that there is a very, very important safety element to having a guide dog. And when the dog thinks that someone else in life is alpha to it, its allegiance is torn when it's in harness. And so then the dog is going to say, oh, well, Kirsten's great, but Kirsten's mom's here and Kirsten's mom's alpha to everyone, which is true, but she can't be alpha to my dog. And so then the dog's going to want to follow my mom and say like, oh, I love Kirsten's mom. That's great. I'm glad that she loves my mom. But guess what? What if my mom goes somewhere that I don't want to go? Now my dog stops guiding me and she starts following my mom because of the relationship that she has with my mom. So it's a very delicate thing, as you can see, because I want my dog to love my mom because I want to come visit my mom and not have my dog be a turd. But you know, you need to be strict with the rules. You need to make sure that people aren't feeding the dog and giving the dog treats and just commanding the dog. There's a reason, if you guys remember from past videos, I've introduced her as, this is my German Shepherd guide dog. Her public name is Ava. That's because I don't want people to know her actual name. Why? Because when we're in public, this is how it always goes. Oh, what a pretty dog. What's her name? Oh, her name's Ava. Oh, hi, Ava. Ava, you're such a good girl, huh? No, do not talk to my dog. Do not look at my dog. Don't even think about my dog. It's not because my dog is going to bite people. It's because for my safety, I need that dog focused on me and my needs, not on someone else, and certainly not on someone else that it thinks is going to be their new friend. So the rules are there for a reason, and they all circle back to your safety. And it's awkward, you guys. It's awkward with your friends and family who are like, oh, well, that's a cool dog, but I wish I could talk to it. And, oh, wait, I can't play bone with your dog. Why not? I can't, what? And so it's weird. Like, you have to just explain to people through the safety lens, and then they're fine. Then they understand because they love you, they will follow the rules. But you need to be able to do that. Stand up to the people in your life. If you can't do that, maybe think again about getting a dog, because the whole reason you want to get one is your safety and to improve the way that you navigate in the world as you want, independently and without other people involved. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those are the 5 reasons. I truly feel that if you think that you can handle these things, then you should really think about having a guide dog. They're incredible tools. They are so wonderful to bond with and be around. And they're just awesome because you can take them on the airplane with you and take them to go, I don't know, pick up allergy medicine from CVS, like random things you normally wouldn't do with your actual regular dog. You can do with this one. And it's just really special. If you guys are thinking about having a guide dog and you're a professional like me who couldn't afford to take 2 weeks to 28 days off from my job, then I highly, highly recommend the Fidelco Guide Dog Foundation. I've talked about them in past videos, but they're based in Connecticut. They do only German Shepherds, and they train the dog completely, and then they bring the dog to you. And they train you for 14 days because there are commands, gestures, all the rules I was talking about, etc., that they need to teach you as well. And so once the human and doggy pair is all trained after 14 days, they leave, but they come back every year to do an assessment to make sure you're still okay, the dog's okay, everything's all good to go. You can ask them questions about random behaviors that your dog is exhibiting that they weren't before, things like that. And these trainers, they're incredible. They're a phone call away from me. I've called them many times over the 6+ years that I've had my baby, and they've been just amazing. So Fidelco Guide Dog Foundation, I'll leave a link to them in the description box below. I'll also leave a link up here in the cards and down in the description about one of the examples of how my dog saved my life. And I truly, as I said, I believe that this is an incredible mobility tool, and I wouldn't have known unless I just took the plunge and decided to give it a try. So don't forget to leave a comment down below if you have any questions, or you can go over to Instagram and DM me so that you don't, if you don't want anyone to read what your concerns are. I'm happy to talk to anyone that I can if I can be of assistance. I will see you in the next video. Please remember to smile for a second, especially because sometimes that's all we have. And I hope you have a great day. Ciao.